Yesterday afternoon, after Ford Motor Company announced the hiring of Alan Mulally as its new Chief Executive Officer, 34-year Boeing veteran Scott Carson was tapped to succeed him at Boeing. Scott's extensive sales, financial, and operational experience, coupled with his strong relationships with Boeing customers, suppliers, and employees, made him a logical choice for the job. The only tidbit that they gave me that I could pass along was that it's not in his official bio, but Scott and his wife, Linda, are both very proud WSU Cougars. And so this is good. Lane will be glad to hear that. In any case, I'll tell you this. In the last 24 hours, every person that I've spoken to from Boeing has said the same thing. What a great choice. They couldn't have done better. Please join me in welcoming to the Seattle 4 the new President and CEO of Boeing Commercial Airplanes, Scott Carson.
So it's been an interesting day. It's really an awesome opportunity to be here with you today, to see so many old friends and to meet so many new. My family's roots, actually my wife's family's roots, go way back in this community. Her grandparents, great-grandparents came here in the late 1800s. And so she and her mother and her grandmother and her grandmother's mother were all natives here in Seattle, grew up on Capitol Hill. So they feel deeply and passionately about Seattle, and it's just really an honor for me to be here with you today on the first full day in this new assignment. Now, I note in the book they have really large text, and as you can imagine, in the last 24 hours we have really hustled, and so I have really small text and really bad eyes, and so you'll forgive me if I try to stay very close to script and look down perhaps a little more than I normally would. But I'd like to thank you so much. This really has been an exciting day. It's an exciting day to be part of this terrific new campaign, and a campaign that supports such a noble and honorable institution as Family Services. We're proud and pleased to be part of Rotary. We're proud and pleased to be part of this special day when the campaign's announced. But beyond that, we're proud today to be able to announce a contribution directly to Family Services in the amount of $300,000. Contributing to our community and contributing to the agencies that help make our communities a better place is just plain good business. It's something that we take seriously. It is not something at Boeing that is done off on the side. It is in the very fiber of what we do in our business plan reviews each week. We take a look at production health, and I could say last week they look at my sales results, but we also look at the health of our community service activities. And that, I think, speaks volumes of how important we at Boeing see this. Talking about our communities is one thing, but it is an important part of our plans as we go forward. Not just Seattle, but importantly Seattle and the Puget Sound area, because it's part of our fundamental strategy. Our strategy includes delivering results for our communities, because you're an important constituent. For our customers, certainly, because they expect and pay for high-quality products. Certainly for our employees, because without them, none of us would be able to deliver those products that we all count on. And finally, and importantly, to our shareholders. We can't be successful, though, unless all four of those elements play in our fundamental strategy. To be able to deliver results to all these groups, We must continue to focus our strategy on transforming our company to deal with the economic and business realities of today. We focus on the incorporation of more technology into our products. I just came from Everett, and I can tell you we are excited about what will be happening 1 year from now when the next new Boeing airplane flies, the 787. It incorporates the latest technology, both to help make the airplane make more money for the airlines, but also to importantly change the flying experience for us. So technology is a very important component of what we do. We also, though, have to continue to transform our production system. We've been on that journey for over 10 years. We have the first moving line in the aviation industry in Renton that has dramatically reduced the throughput we get out of that factory, the productivity of our people, allowing us to pass better value on to our customers. Over 2 years ago, I read in the Wall Street Journal in November of 2004 that it was over for the 737. It was old technology. It couldn't compete with the A320. But by improving our production systems, we were able to create a better product at a better price for our customers and at the same time return more money to our shareholders and more value into our communities. Last year, for an airplane that was dead, we sold a record number of 737s, over 500. This year, we've sold 418 so far, and we're feeling good about how the rest of the year will go. But it's also important that we transform our relationships with our customers. And as in any big organization, it doesn't matter if it's Rotary or if it's Boeing, it's easy to lose touch with customers as you enjoy success. You can become arrogant. You can assume you know what your customer is thinking. And I can guarantee you, you can make mistakes if you do that. Over the last 2 years, we've changed our focus to more of the listening and less of the delivering of our message. What that's allowed us to do is move much closer to the customer, to make improvements in existing products and to develop new products that uniquely meet their needs and position this company for a great run back to the front of the aerospace industry. But the great thing about this strategy isn't that it's written on a piece of paper and it isn't that we talk about it, it's that it's working. I think our results last year have reinvigorated our entire workforce. The energy that I felt in Everett an hour and a half ago as our team talked about the excitement of the next year, the fact that we are still building 747s and 767s and of course the 777, the fact that we are building at record numbers the 737 in Renton has invigorated the whole team. The team likes winning. We like winning individually and collectively, and it's a nice feeling to have this happening at this point. This year we'll deliver 395 airplanes, up from 290 last year. Next year we expect to deliver 440, give or take. Our backlog is at record levels, and it's growing, and will continue to grow for the foreseeable future. We spend $2.8 billion on goods and services in this region. I think this region needs a healthy Boeing. I think Boeing owes this community its contribution back because a healthy community and a healthy Boeing walk hand in hand. The current market outlook, which is our economic forecast of what this industry will be going through in the future, indicates that we will produce something in the industry about 27,000 airplanes over the next 20 years. Now, we're in a duopoly, so I would hope that we would get about half of that. That market is worth $2.6 trillion. A healthy economy produces a healthy Boeing. A healthy Boeing gives back to the community, and a healthy community helps us be successful in our business. It's a wonderful cycle. The foundation of this outlook is, of course, tied to global economic growth, and we're predicting 3.1% compounded growth in the economy. Freight grows faster than passenger traffic. That's good. We built the best freighter in the world in the 747. Aerospace industry is growing globally, and that is good for Washington jobs. It's good for jobs in every community in which we do business, and it's good for global jobs. What I'd like to focus on, though, is the importance of the commercial aerospace industry to the economy here and across the nation. In particular, I'd like to focus on the existing work that we're doing at Boeing to maintain our leadership and the U.S. leadership in a market where we face a very strong European competitor. Our industry the U.S. GDP is producing 600,000 high-paying aerospace jobs. High-paying aerospace jobs are a good indicator of economic health in those communities. But the industry is changing. A lot of technology is available. But as I said at the beginning, in the incorporation of technology for technology's sake isn't what produces value for us. What produces value for us is the incorporation of technology that changes the flying experience for the people that operate our aircraft and for the people that fly with those operators. So technology, where it creates value, is the key. In our communities, though, a lot of the aerospace technology has spin-off benefits in that it creates high-paying jobs in other organizations, and we view that as a very positive thing for the community and for the company. American leadership is important. We are the #1 exporter in the U.S. We are a bellwether of economic health in this country and the balance of trades, and I think the Seattle region in particular is critical to that. The Dreamliner, the new airplane, is exciting. The first production element of the Dreamliner, our transporter that will move parts from around the world to Seattle, will arrive either late this week or next. And it's something to look forward to. It is the world's ugliest airplane. But it will produce huge value here in this region and jobs around the world. At Boeing, we're looking forward to continuing to work together with our communities. Our communities are our anchor. It's through education in our communities that we get talented people in the workforce. Talented people in the workforce allow us to innovate and continue to improve and move forward and be successful. It's a cycle that we would like to see continued. It's a cycle that we view that we play an important role in, but so do you, individually and through your firms. It's a great time to be at Boeing. It is a great time to be at Boeing in the Puget Sound region, but it's a great time to be at Boeing in the world. We're about to be the leader again. We're excited about that. We're excited about the role that we'll continue to play in this community. And I'm really excited to be at the end of my remarks and be able to turn this over to you all for a few questions and answers, which I've been doing a lot of in the last 24 hours.
Mark and Larry have the microphones. If you'd like to ask a question, please stand up and Mark and Larry will bring the microphone to you. Oh, come on.
There we go.
Oh.
Well, we have a big thank you.
Stand up. You can,
Thank you very much. We feel very flattered and honored and complimented. We appreciate the Boeing support, and thanks for announcing it today. Thank you.
So tell us about the future of China and India in aerospace.
That's a great question, Ralph. As you saw last year, India became a tremendously important market to us. We sold a great deal of product there. Their transportation system is evolving very quickly under a government that is focused on economic development in the region, and there's 1 billion people there. Great talent, and it will become a great economic force in the world. So being there as they lay the foundation for what will be a strong economic engine is really exciting for us. China has been a terrific market for us for about 20 years, though it is very strong right now. The entire Asia-Pacific region remains strong. China is in better condition to absorb all the product we're putting in because they have more infrastructure, frankly, than India does. But both China and India represent tremendous customers for Boeing, and we're very pleased with the relationship we have with all the airlines and the governments in those regions.
Congratulations on your new job, and shows the respect the company has for you. I think you're in a lot better spot than Mullally is right now.
Alan's a really good friend of mine. I've known him for many years and supported him in a number of different roles. I'd frankly rather be in Seattle than Detroit, and so I'm quite happy to be here.
Congratulations again. A big part of the success in the reinvigoration of Boeing has been about opening up, not just the opening of your production and sharing that across the globe, but also opening up the design of your planes. Going forward, how will you continue to open up and share that design process while continuing to maintain some competitive advantage internal to the company?
The long-term vision we have for the company is that we retain forever the large-scale system integration skill set, the fundamental building blocks of the designs of our product. We have detailed design and production being done in a number of places around the world, both for market access and for technology access reasons. But the core of what we do, the fundamental system engineering, performance engineering, and system integration as the parts all come together is done here. So all the intellectual capital remains in this region, the high-value jobs remain in this region, and we take advantage of the markets and industry that exists around the world.
I have a question about the Airbus. I understand the Airbus is building a plane that probably holds a zillion people. Boeing decided not to go that way. But I understand there's some problems with it. Airports are having to add on to the runways, and they also have to change the jetways. What's your estimate for how many of those planes will actually be built, and is Airbus going to scrap that in the future?
Airbus and Boeing looked at the marketplace and came to very different conclusions. We have believed for some time that most of us would choose to go where we want to go rather than, say, to Narita to get to somewhere in China or Narita to get to somewhere in the South Pacific. Airbus believed that the hub and spoke model would be sustainable. The market is really expressing its views on that today. We've sold over 400 of the new 787 in the last 20 months, and Airbus has sold roughly 5, I think, A380s in about the same time. So it isn't what we think about what Airbus has done. It's how the market has reacted to the choices Airbus made, and we think the market is telling them they made a mistake. Now, we believe there is a market for very large airplanes, and because of that, we have launched the 747-8, both the freight version and the intercontinental. We think, though, that market represents a relatively small piece of the total global market outlook that I addressed, a small piece of the 27,000 airplanes. In fact, perhaps fewer than 1,000. Airbus has sold, I think they're reporting 159 airplanes. That's an interesting number. It would be a hard number for us to make economic sense out of with a product that large, but they're going to have to deal with the choices they've made and address that in the marketplace. We're very happy with how our full suite of products are performing right now and the market reception to them.
I wondered if you could build on that answer a little bit and comment on how you see Airbus addressing the success you've had with the Dreamliner and how quickly they'll be able to do something and how effective it'll be.
Airbus's response has been an airplane they call the A350, and it has been through several iterations as they try and understand the market as we saw it. The airplane that they announced at the Farnborough Air Show about a month ago is an airplane that is not as good as the 777 and not as good as the 787, and tries to address both of those markets simultaneously. It makes it a very challenging market for them. They have announced some sales of that airplane, but they also have not yet announced the final configuration, and we hear Some weeks it's going to be an aluminum fuselaged airplane. Some weeks it's going to be a composite fuselage. Likely it will be a new wing that is made out of composites. But there's a lot of definition still going on as they look for a way to address what are two really outstanding products. And this community and the company has a big debt of gratitude to Alan for a lot of the vision he held in bringing both of those aircraft to fruition.
Scott, I'd like to ask a question. We have plenty of time for questions today, so I'm going to stick one in here that incorporates Ralph's question and an earlier question. You talked about keeping high-quality jobs here in the United States. I'd like you to talk about the American worker and how the American worker competes in the global economy. What's your view? Can American workers compete?
From where I stand, I can see my public relations team sitting here in the front row saying, holy smokes, what's he going to say? So what I'm going to say is what I believe as Scott Carson, private citizen, and not necessarily the views of the Boeing company. I think the American worker, in fact, can compete. We have to maintain, though, the focus on education and high-quality education, education in math and sciences, in engineering, to assure a competitive place in the future. It is our innovative approaches that allow us to change production systems, to incorporate the right technologies in airplanes. We cannot do that without the best educated engineers, scientists, mathematicians, and physicists in the world. And so I think the challenge on all of us as private citizens, as industries, and as communities is to assure that we continue to press all of our young people forward on an agenda focused on high-quality education that leads to high-quality jobs, innovation, and creativity. They said I passed.
You spoke of the fact there would be a 27,000 airplane market over the next 20 years. You've also spoken about technology. Is there any conceivable way that airplanes will be propelled other than with petroleum products? And looks like we're running into a lot of problems with those as we look out 20 or 40 years.
As I suspect you know, a lot of research is going on alternative fuels. NASA has recently started flying an airplane with fuel cell technology in it. Today, the state of technology does not allow you to scale that up in a way that would be commercially viable on a very large aircraft. So in lieu of that, what we continue to look at is how do you put more technology into existing power plants to make them more fuel efficient. One of the reasons the 787 is selling well, one of the reasons the 747-8 freighters are selling so well is we have put superior technology into those engines that dramatically reduces fuel burn, in some cases as much as 20% over predecessor aircraft. Now, I think we do get to a day where technology will allow alternative fuel sources to be used, but it's still a long ways off in terms of its maturity. So right now we must put technology in that allows us to burn less of the fossil fuels to carry people, more people to the destinations they want to go to.
Describe your leadership style and how is it different from Alan Mulally?
I've probably been asked that question 20 times in the last 24 hours. As I said, Alan is a good friend of mine. I've long admired his leadership style, and those of you that know him know he can walk into a room and it is filled larger than life with a personality that dominates everything that happens in that environment. I would contrast that by saying, I started out as an accountant. But I'm trainable. I think in terms of how we feel about the strength of teams, we're very similar. Alan brought to me a model that I hadn't previously experienced at Boeing called working together, and it really is a team-based model that empowers teams to take on impossible tasks and realize success. I've had the opportunity to first experiment with, then use, and then strongly endorse that model over the last 10 or 12 years that I've known Alan. It works. There's nothing that people can't do when they're given the tools and the resources and the commitment of management to get a job done. So I think in terms of the manifestation of it, we're quite different. In terms of the dynamicism, I'm an accountant, and he's Alan.
Scott, one of my key concerns is how we are generating science and engineering graduates in our community. Can you address specifically what Boeing is doing to support our Washington State University population in order
That would be like, you're in purple, though. Oh, you didn't mean Washington State. Boeing has for a long time supported universities not only in Washington but throughout this country, providing internships, scholarship, and job opportunities for people in the sciences as well as people with business education, MIS education, and so on. The company also encourages employees to become involved with those institutions, taking on roles in advisory capacities, supporting employee contribution through matching fund programs, and so on. This last year in Boeing in the Puget Sound region, we had 450 or 460 intern students that come in and are given real work and an opportunity, one, for us to sell to them what a career in our industry looks like, because we compete globally now for the best and the brightest, but also an opportunity to test drive the young people and to have them do good and innovative work for us that allows us to move forward. We view this as a very serious commitment on our part. It was really launched under Frank Schranz and then really driven home by Phil Condit to allow us to have a continuing education program that allows not only us to support college education at the first time through, but to assure our workforce continues to renew itself, because we think through that renewal we create better role models, and by doing a better job of modeling we can also attract better young people. And then we encourage them to give back as soon as they can, because we think the act of giving back to your university or school of choice is both a worthy cause, but it's also a cause that bonds us more closely to those institutions.
Next week, we're going to be at the Westin, and we're going to do a table talk. So we'll get a little opportunity to share in fellowship before lunch, and then a real treat. Jorge Madrazo, many of you know him well, he's our Consul General from Mexico, is departing. This is sad news, but the happy news is he gets to address us next week. How many of you knew that Consul General Madrazo, at one time in his career, was the Attorney General of Mexico? Yeah, see, a few people knew that. Well, he's a very distinguished leader and a great statesman and a good friend. You'll want to look forward to that program. Finally, pretty good rule number 10. Can't believe that. Number 10 already. Be generous. Help those in need. Tip big. Don't hesitate to pay more than your fair share. It will not lower your standard of living. We are adjourned.
Seattle Rotary Online is made possible in part by a grant from First Choice Health, now providing return-to-work services that help get absent employees back to their jobs. Healthy employees produce healthy companies at First Choice Health. And by Enterprise Seattle. For over 35 years, Enterprise Seattle has provided client-based economic development services to businesses throughout King County and its 39 cities. More information on Enterprise Seattle and how they help businesses grow and prosper can be found at www.enterpriseseattle.org.